So you got to keep this in mind. I'm tired of hearing guys message about how they feel. I don't feel motivated. I don't feel. Feel. Leave the feelings to the girls. That's what they do. We act. We're men of action. We get things done. That's how the world got built. All the men who built the fucking skyscrapers felt scared. They did it anyway. You need to become a man of action. Stop worrying about how you feel and start worrying about what you're supposed to be doing. You ain't found the time to go to the gym. Why? You haven't worked on anything. You haven't dedicated yourself to anything. Why? Oh, I just don't feel like it. Well, you're a piece of shit. This once again ties into your network, the people around you. Everyone else around you, when you say you feel a certain way, if they don't check you, then why are you hanging around with them? If you're going to sit there and go, I feel sad, and your friends are going to go, oh, bro, you feel sad, man? It's hard to be sad, bro. You sad, bro? Oh, we're sad too, bro. I was sad last week. What the f***'s wrong with you? I can't even... Tristan, I feel sad. Which, shut up. My boys around me, there is no weakness in my circle. You need to create your reality.
If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline.
I've always been disciplined myself because I've always lived a disciplined life. I lived in a disciplined household. Like, there was no such thing as I don't want to. So even now, if I wake up and I don't want to do something, I don't need someone to tell me to do it because I'll do it anyway. So yeah, I was growing up in a very disciplined household, and I think it's absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. When I look at some of the stuff on Twitter about parenting and stuff, like in my household, I fucked up, I got hit, for example. And I think that's a fantastic. I can't wait to kick my kid's ass when he gets stressed. I can't wait. That's the real world. The real world's going to hit you hard if you make mistakes, and you need to learn that there's boundaries you shouldn't cross, and you need to learn to cause and effect. I love my upbringing. I get called a sociopath all the time and a psychopath all the time. I get called that, but I don't think people understand that there is a version of the world where you can feel things and really not give a fuck how you feel. If I feel sad, it does not change how I act, and it does not change things I do. If I don't feel like going to the gym, I go to the gym. If I don't feel like working, I will still work. I lived in a world for 15 years where I didn't feel like fighting because my nose was broken, but I had to fight anyway. So a lot of these people come to me and they say, oh, but I feel this way. I don't put a huge amount of importance on emotions. It's not that I don't feel them. It's that I don't think they have much to do with anything at all. If I wake up in a happy mood and I have a business to run and things to do, if I wake up in a sad mood, I have the same shit to do. I'm going to get it done. Where's the importance of it?
I learned a lot of my discipline, you're right, from fighting. I was a chess prodigy as a kid. I had my dad as a coach, so it was chess originally, and then it kind of moved to fighting. Yeah, there was a degree of fear involved. I trained so hard because I was scared of losing. I was scared of meeting my opponent on X day at X time and getting my ass kicked and looking like an idiot and possibly dying and getting brain damage. I was afraid, and I used that fear to train as hard as possible. And you can apply that to life as a whole. You need to use the fear of being mediocre and use it to make you try as hard as possible. The reason with most mediocre people is they don't have a fear of being mediocre. They've listened to the Matrix programming and they've been convinced that being mediocre is absolutely fine. It's fine to not be that successful. You know what? All our graves are the same size. Doesn't matter what you achieve in your life. This is the slave mind, and I refuse to accept it. I do not accept that. I accept I'm an exceptional individual and I deserve an exceptional experience of the human consciousness, and that's what I'm going to fucking have. And it doesn't matter if I have to do it myself. That's fine, because no one else is going to do it for me. There has to be a healthy fear. If you're genuinely scared and genuinely uncomfortable in a certain situation, you're going to move. If you fall asleep on your arm and it gets uncomfortable, you'll wake your ass up and move your arm. But if you're comfortable, you're not going to. So when I see somebody who's sitting in a rut and they've been in a rut for a long time, a couple times a week they're pissed off with the rut. When they got a bill they can't pay, and they'll message you going, I really need to get out. I've got to change my life, bro. But the second things aren't that bad, they're back to playing video games. For 5 days a week, you're fine being a fucking loser. And that's why you're still a loser. When I had no money, James, I couldn't sleep. Where's my money? People have Lamborghinis. I ain't got one. I couldn't tolerate the pain in my mind. People don't have that drive. If you're not afraid of being a dumbass, you're going to stay a dumbass.
It's ungrateful to the universe. It's ungrateful to God himself to waste what he gives you. Where does the luck come from? It comes from God. Who does God favor? God likes you when you try. There's nothing that's going to piss God off more than wasting what he fucking gives you. If you give someone a Ferrari and they look after it perfectly, you're happy. If you give someone a Ferrari and see it the next day, it's got cigarette butts, it's treated like shit, would you be happy you gave him a Ferrari? God gave you a consciousness, he gave you a body, he gave you a mind, and you're not even fucking using it. You're not using it to be the best version of yourself. You're not using it to get as rich and powerful as possible. You're not using it to change the world. You're not using it to protect those you love. You're not using it for anything. And you expect God to make you lucky? Wouldn't he give it to his soldiers who dedicate themselves and try? You make your own luck by dedicating yourself to the universe. I said this before. I said it in a rain dancing term. I said, if you need it to rain and your life depends on it, you should do a rain dance. Now, do rain dances make clouds come? No. But perhaps, by some strange twist of fate, far in the distance, another tribe will see you rain dancing and realize you need water. And they'll think, he needs water, and we need something he has. And they'll bring you water. If you didn't rain dance and just sat there waiting for it to rain, the water would have never come. There's no such thing as working too hard. You'd be amazed how if you just do work, how amazing things happen. I train every single day. I've actually heard from some people saying, you overtrain. And I explained to them, one, I don't believe in rest. I'm not you. I'm not pussy and I'm not broke. I don't need to listen to you. Secondly, I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it. So I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. And it's more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot? And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time and you try and improve every aspect of your life and you're a professional and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy, if you try and you make it to the top, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? And you catch yourself being very elitist. And this is what's scary about it, because I'm from a Luton council estate. But if I meet somebody who's truly broke, I'm not talking about you not have hundreds of millions, but if I meet somebody who's broke, I think they're an idiot. I started lower than you and beat you. How are you poor? You're lazy. And I think there's only three reasons you can't get rich in the world today, which is either you're stupid, you're lazy, or you're arrogant. And I find the most common one is lazy and arrogant. It's not stupid. There's nobody at home who is too stupid to become rich. Anyone watching this podcast right now, if you were to sit down next to me and I were to say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, you could do it. But you're too lazy to learn how to do it yourself. And you're too arrogant to listen. It's one of the two. Those are the two most common factors of people. So when I meet people who have truly failed, and they pretend to me that they didn't want to fail, I know they're one of the three. And it's usually arrogant. Because when I sit and say to them, you could have got out, they don't say, you're right, I could have got out, I didn't try. They don't do that. They say, no, because it's excuse, someone else's fault, the matrix's fault, no self-accountability. Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about anyway. Arrogance.
Let's imagine you're earning $100 grand a year. You're successful inside of the matrix. You're a successful slave. Let's imagine you can live for free, eat for free, you walk to work, you never buy clothes. Let's imagine you save 100% of your money. I don't want to do the math off the top of my head, but my Bugatti was 5.2. That's a lifetime of slave work without spending a penny ever once. To by the time you're fucking geriatric and can't function, you might be able to buy one of my 30 cars. If that does not tell you the matrix must be cracked and there's other ways to make money, then nothing fucking. I've escaped the matrix. I've literally escaped the matrix in nearly every form. So any form of oppression no longer applies to me. No, I can say what I want. My finances are secure. I've escaped the matrix. And when I talk about the matrix, it primarily applies to men because men are the backbone of the slave force. We always have been and always will be. And unfortunately now, if you're a law-abiding man inside the matrix, your future and the life that is laid out for you is nothing but depressing. You're going to go to school, you're going to get in debt, you're going to get a job, you're going to get a wife, divorce is coming, you're going to lose the house eventually, inflation's outpacing your wages, you're going to work, no one's going to appreciate it, now you're old and your life's over. That is the matrix for 99% of men. And you need to find a way to escape it. And I guess I was kind of fortunate from a young age. I always knew that the matrix was coming and that the system is designed to oppress. The people who make the rules do not make the rules for the benefit of us. They make the rules for the benefit of the people who make the rules. And I knew that the system is absolutely broken, it's designed to oppress, and that the majority of people who stick to the rules are going to lose. I don't want to sit here on a podcast that goes out to this many people and encourage anyone to break the law in any form. But the idea of the law-abiding citizen has been decimated in real time. 2-3 years ago, you could stand there and proudly say, I'm a law-abiding citizen. The last 2 years, if they have not taught you that being a law-abiding citizen is going to turn you nothing into a fucking experiment for Big Pharma, then you're an idiot. You can no longer obey the law. And I'm not saying you have to break the law, but you need to find a way to do what the elites do, which is bend the law. You can no longer sit there and go, I'm just going to follow the rules and it's going to be okay. No, it isn't. And if you're a man, it's your job to find a way to not be sticking to those rules enough to escape the matrix and become free. What's actually most crazy about this period of history is that it's actually the easiest time in human history to become rich. And the reason for that is because there's so many people inside the matrix being destroyed. Money has to go somewhere.
Some people don't want to win. And the people who don't want to win are not going to win. So when he sits and says, oh, we need to balance everything out, you cannot legislate everyone rich. You cannot make a loser have what a winner has, because winners are busy winning. That's the bottom line of it. And people say this, not everyone wants to be a hustler. Not everyone wants to have to go out there and grind. Yeah, but some people do.
I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about, this is all I want, not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it. If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it. That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire. If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed. But these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. It doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what? So I have very little sympathy for people, and that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them.
A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest. The idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You need to be in a better position than that. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. So as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here, and I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? How many times have you betrayed yourself? If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage.
And when men sit and say, I want to be happy, I want to feel happy. To feel happy, a lot of the time, you're looking for temporary hedonism or do something stupid temporarily, and it's very short-lived. I think you should instead be looking as a man to say, I want to feel proud. If you choose pride over happiness, you're going to make decisions that you're proud of and the people around you are proud of, and it's going to be better for yourself and better for society and better for everyone who loves you, everyone you care about. I think that the masculine realm of bullying is actually very, very powerful. A true friend expects the best of you. I think if I were to go home right now and say I'm too sad to work, everyone would call me a dickhead. What do you mean you're too tired to work? What are you talking about? I think that peer pressure and camaraderie that comes with the masculine world A lot of it can be delivered in a non-PC way, but that's actually the power of it. So I expect my friends to hold me to a high regard. I mean, we're all busy getting things done, and we all expect the best of each other. I would never have friends who don't do what they're supposed to do. We're a group of people, we're all competent people, and we do what we're supposed to do. And if there was one person who continually failed, they wouldn't be our friend very long, because we wouldn't have any shared values. Irregardless of how I feel, I have things I'm supposed to do, and they must be done, whether I'm happy or sad. If I wake up sad, or I wake up happy, or I wake up angry, I have the same schedule for the day. I just don't understand the importance we put on feelings. Was never something, I mean, this is a modern phenomenon, right? Men had duty and honor, and how they felt was not to be taken into consideration because they had things they were supposed to do. Now, once again, now everything's become subjective. Perhaps we're highlighting the importance of feelings amongst men because one, we're trying to feminize them, and two, we're trying to make everything subjective once again. He doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down, or he's depressed, or he has ADHD, or whatever garbage you come up with. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts, and the duty, and the honor, and the commitments, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness, and there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day I say I'm happy might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child, whereas I think I'm happy as long as I'm not distraught. Time solves all things, God solves all things, and to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. Women do this all the time. But I had my period. So? You're an adult. You're not allowed to scream at people. You're an adult. Control yourself. If you can't control yourself because you feel a certain way, then you're not allowed an opinion on anything because you're still a fucking kid. For all the women who say they do certain things because they can't control themselves, even though they're a full-grown adult, why are you voting and having an opinion on anything? Because you're still a fucking child. I feel angry. I don't shoot anyone. I feel sad. I don't cry. It's the adult mentality. So feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day.